again, folks, and welcome back to another very special episode, as this time we have quite literally my biggest pickup of 2023, 16 kilos of games.
Game pickups! Building the games room! Run tricks! Live game hunting! Oh yeah!
Hello again, folks, and welcome back to a very special game pickups episode. That's because next to me on the sofa, taking up the majority of the sofa, is my biggest pickup of 2023. This is a box absolutely stacked with games and collectibles, which was donated to me by a friend and weighs in at 16 kilos. Today we're going to jump in and unbox this together, but before we do, I just want to remind you folks, if you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button and please subscribe. So I put new videos out every Saturday live at 5, as well as bonus content throughout the week, and I really want you folks along for the ride. Now, let's get into this unboxing. Finally, just before we jump into this box, I want to give you a little bit of a backstory. So this was sent to me by a friend who reached out saying that a neighbour had donated them a lot of games. And by a lot of games, I mean shopping bags full of games. Now, she's far away from an expert on gaming, but knew, of course, that I collect, so reached out, asked if I wanted any of these games for the collection. But when we started going through these games, some of these had a very, very high price tag. Now, I have some amazing games in this box, but the biggest, heaviest hitters from this donation to her have gone to a fellow collector. So I reached out to my good friend and fellow YouTuber PS2ManyGames, and he bought some games for his collection. But I'm not going to spoil what he picked up. Today we're going to concentrate on what I picked up. And when he puts his video up showing his amazing pickups, I'll link it in the description down below. Let's jump into this box then. So I have a rough idea what's inside here, but if I know my friend, there's always going to be some surprises along the way. Now, I have opened the tape on this box already because, as I said, PS2ManyGames did buy some games as well, and they were sent in the same box. So this is probably just under 16 kilos if you want to get really pedantic about it. But let's jump straight into this one. So it's about mid-November now, and this was sent to me just after Halloween. And what better way to get rid of your Halloween decorations than to use them as packaging. So here we have spiders, webs, and fake spiders. I love recycling myself, so this is a fantastic way to pack any box. But let's get all the spiders and spider webs out of the way. Apologies to anyone who has arachnophobia, and we'll jump into the first bag here. So even more Halloween based packaging, love it. And I'm just gonna have to jump straight into one of these. So here we have the first bag. And as I said, I roughly know what's in here, but I'm sure there's going to be some surprises along the way. So the first box we have here is some PlayStation 1 games. And the first game is this game, Exhumed. Now, I don't actually know if I've ever played this one, but this looks like an 18 rated first person shooter for the PlayStation 1. Much in the kind of feeling of Quake, Doom, Duke Nukem, that kind of thing. So definitely really excited to jump into this one. And straight off the bat, these are in amazing condition. Now, I should say the person who donated these was a collector for a lot of years, but was just trying to make room. It happens to all of us, and I'm just glad these are gone to a collector, and I'm really happy to have these in the collection. But let's keep jumping in. Next up, we have another PlayStation 1 game, Warhawk. Again, I don't think I've ever seen this one before. And here's the thing, I think I have a fairly good knowledge of PlayStation 1 games, so for me to not know a game is kind of strange. I can't work out yet. This one is missing the front of the manual, or the kind of bit of the front, unfortunately. But at the end of the day, that is a big manual, and at the end of the day, I'm just happy to have this one in my collections. I've never seen that one before. Finally, in this first lot, we have Rocks. No idea. Essentially, from the back, it looks like Tetris. But yeah, let me know in the comments down below if you know anything about this game, Rocks. Let's jump into the next bag then. I'm going to go for one of the bigger ones here. So we have this bag here, which I thought is that U2 sponsored bag? No idea. Definitely strange. And we're going to jump into the first games here. And straight away we have an absolute heavy hitter for the PlayStation 2, Canis Canem Edit, or as most of us just call it, Bully. An absolute gem of a Rockstar game. And not a lot of people just kind of forget about this game, but it's definitely one of my favourite games that Rockstar ever made. And honestly, I would love a Bully 2. I just think it'd be absolutely fantastic. Next game, so What I do know is there's a few games from this franchise, and it is a franchise that I've been trying to build my collection of for a long while. Firstly, Metal Slug 3. I think this is one of the best, if not the best, side-scrolling kind of shmup games. I absolutely love this game, and I'm really, spoiler alert, there's more of these in this box. Finally, we have a game which I didn't really recognise, Guilty Gear Asuka. Never played this game before, but the artwork just looks absolutely incredible. So let me know again in the comments down below if you've played this one. Continuing on with the bag, and the next game we have is Dark Narrative Apostle DNA, and I have never seen this game before. And this is what I love about getting like donations like this to the collection. This is the kind of game I probably wouldn't go out of my way to buy, but because it's come in this massive donation, I'll get to play it. And who knows, this could be an absolute hidden gem. I had never played it, so let me know in the comments down below. Next up, we have what I honestly think is one of the most iconic covers of any PlayStation 2 game, and that's Super Buster Move, because what has that cover got to do with a game which is essentially about bursting bubbles? Still one of the greatest mysteries in PlayStation 2, and going on to one of the greatest racing games on the PlayStation 2, Ridge Racer V. Absolutely amazing game. I have so many memories of playing this with my friends. It's absolutely fantastic. Probably one of my favourite racing games on the PS2. Next up we have a game from Capcom, which again I've never heard of. Crimson Tears. It looks kind of like a cyberpunky beat 'em up game. Looks really, really cool. So definitely one I'm really excited once again to jump into. And then finally a Namco game I've never heard of. It has got Tekken's Nina Williams. That's Death by Degrees. Like, what is this? Is this like a weird RPG including Tekken? This looks incredibly odd. I will put some footage on the side of the screen. I'm definitely very intrigued by this one. Let's continue to jump into the box, and we have some more PlayStation 1 games. So we have a reimagining of an arcade classic in Asteroids. I've never played this one on the PlayStation 1, but the PlayStation 1 was kind of the first time we started to see some of these retro games remade, and at the end of the day, Asteroids is a classic, probably just a slight graphic upgrade. This one could be pretty interesting. We have a game by Core Eidos, who were the original people who made Tomb Raider, if I'm correct. That is Ninja Shadow of Darkness, another PS1 game which I've never played. I imagine this is going to be fairly similar to, say, Tenchu or something, but again, never played this one, so let me know in the comments down below. And then another game I've never played, Gekido Urban Fighters. It says on the back, quite simply, it's the ultimate side-scrolling beat-em-up, and that's me sold. If this is the ultimate side-scrolling beat-em-up, then I'm very, very excited to check out this one. Let's get into some more PS1 games here, and yeah, another 3 games here, more packaging, and we have another kind of reimagining of a classic, Pitfall 3D Beyond the Jungle. Again, this is a kind of game that just has a classic gameplay mechanic, so just giving it that kind of fresh graphics is definitely going to make this one I want to check out. And I'm definitely seeing a theme with a lot of these PlayStation 1 games. They're really kind of a lot of the classic arcade reimagining, such as Bomberman. You know, the best pick up and play game on the PlayStation, it says in the back. This one does essentially look exactly like the standard version of Bomberman, but if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And then finally in this box we have Shaolin. Another game I've never played on the PlayStation 1. And it just goes to show the PlayStation 1 has such an absolutely ginormous library that still, after all these years, I'm finding games I've never played. This is what I love about pickups like this. It's the digging. I'm still going. We're about halfway through the games in this box. As I said, there was 16 kilos and it's absolutely stacked. We have some more PS1 games here. So Death Trap Dungeon. I think what I love about this pickup today is most of these games I've never played, and also most of these games are in absolutely amazing condition. You can really tell these had a loving home, and now once again have a loving home in my collection. Like I said, these were all donated and none of these are going anywhere. They are staying in my collection. Another PlayStation game here, and one I've been desperately trying to find for the PlayStation Platinum project, spoiler alert, there's no Platinum games in here, is Colony Wars Red Sun. I really enjoyed the Colony Wars games. I never got around to playing this one, so definitely looking forward to jumping into this one. Okay, as I said, we're about halfway through this box, so it's time to remove a bit more of the packaging. We have more Halloween decorations. Again, love the reuse of recycling. And let's jump into another load here. And this kind of gives you an idea. There is a lot of games in here. You can see we have stacks of PlayStation 2 games. And we've got to start somewhere, and what better place to start than with Resident Evil Outbreak. An absolutely fantastic game, which I thought it was this one that was online, but I know they did another Resident Evil game which was kind of online. I just can't see why they've not brought back the kind of online 8-player Resident Evil games. That'd be absolutely incredible. And to be honest, even more incredible that these existed back on the PlayStation 2. Next up we have a game which I always think is more synonymous with the PlayStation 1, and that's Ape Escape. I've never played Ape Escape on the PS2, only the PlayStation 1. It's a really fun, really different game, so definitely looking forward to checking this one out on the PS2. Next up we have a game which could either be absolutely fantastic or absolutely terrible. SOS The Final Escape. I am a big fan of disaster movies, like say Volcano, Dante's Peak, San Andreas, and this looks to be in that vein. It looks like you have to kind of survive an apocalyptic event. Like, if anyone's played Disaster Day of Crisis, this is what this looks like, and this is the kind of cheesy fun that I love. And next up we have our second Metal Slug game, Metal Slug 4. But let me know in the comments down below, which Metal Slug do you think is the best of this massive franchise? We are not done yet, folks. Let's keep jumping into this one. And here we have a game which I have wanted for my PlayStation 2 collection for the longest time. Global Defense Force. I absolutely love the Earth Defense Force games, and correct me if I'm wrong, this was the first game in that incredible franchise. It is the definition of big dumb fun. You have guns, you shoot aliens, aliens are big. That is this game. It's just absolutely fantastic. It's a very Marmite game. Either you'll love the stupidity and embrace it, or you will absolutely hate it. Next up we have Circus Maximus Chariot Wars, and I have never seen this game before, and it literally is that. It looks like a chariot racing war game. It actually looks, it looks like this one might be a reprint randomly. No, it's just a strangely printed PlayStation 2 cover. It looks very odd. Never thought I'd own a chariot fighting game, so that one exists. Next up we have Flipnik, which is the ultimate pinball game for your PlayStation 2, according to the absolutely abysmal looking back of this game. It amazes me this is put out by Ubisoft. That looks like an absolute budget title. And then finally we have Bombastic by Capcom, another Capcom game I don't think I've ever heard of. Capcom on the PlayStation 2 had so many fingers and so many pies, and had so many franchises going at that one time. If you look at it now, I think Capcom has like 3 franchises. I think on the PlayStation it had at least 30 franchises. But let me know what your favourite Capcom franchise other than Resident Evil is down in the comments. Let's jump back in then, and more PlayStation 2 games. And the first game here, Way of the Samurai, another game I have never heard of, and this one looks quite interesting. It looks like kind of a JRPG with samurais. After coming off playing Ghost of Tsushima, I'm sure I'm really going to enjoy that one. Next up we have Rogue Galaxy by Sony, a game I've never heard of that Sony made, so you know, it looks like a pretty cool RPG game, so definitely looking forward to checking that one out. I think this is some of the weirder games I've not heard of. So this is Odin Sphere. So, this is the thing with the PlayStation Library, it's so vast, there's just games I've never heard of. But here is a game I've been meaning to add to the collection for a very long while, Yakuza. Like, I absolutely love these games, and like they've just, I think I'd like to go back and play them the way they originally released. Or would you recommend playing these if you're playing them for the first time by buying the kind of remastered version? Let me know if it has like any real difference other than graphics. I know with some of these remasters they like fix some really annoying gameplay features, so let me know if I should play the remaster or the original. And then we have an absolute classic, and a game which is sorely missing from my collection, because honestly I have a fairly small amount of fighting games because I suck at them, and that's Street Fighter Alpha Anthology. I don't know what it is about fighting games, I've just never been good at them, so I normally stray away from them. But for me, if I'm going to play a beat 'em up, it's going to be one of the iconic ones like this. Let's jump into some more PlayStation 2 games, and first off we have another franchise from Capcom. We have Maximo, which, correct me if I'm wrong, wasn't he the knight from Ghosts and Goblins, a very, very difficult game. And fun fact, PS2 mini games, not to bring him up again in this video, but he is amazing at that game. Like, I've never seen anyone play that game with such confidence. Next up we have one of my favourite racing games from the original Xbox, but on the PlayStation 2, and that is Flat Out 2. The car physics in this game were absolutely incredible, and it's definitely worth checking out if you like destructible cars. Next up we have Activision Anthology. I think like I don't really play too many of these kind of classic collections of games, just because at the end of the day with most of these, if I'm going to go back, I will play on the original hardware. But for something like Activision, because some of these early games are so difficult to play on the original hardware, so like with the Atari, sometimes these can be an absolute godsend to play some of the absolute classics. Next up we have another game I've never heard of, Tokobot. Looks like a... even with the back of this, it's not entirely clear what this game is. So, could be a hidden gem, could be terrible. Don't really know at this point. And then next up we have an absolute staple, one of the many, many, many Mega Drive Collection compilations. Let's get into the next PlayStation 2 games. And our first PlayStation 2 Platinum game, Tiger Woods 2005. Now, I loved this kind of period of the Tiger Woods games. They could do no wrong with these games. I have really fond memories of just coming home late from work and pulling late night sessions, just smashing through this. I'm not the biggest golf fan, but I really enjoyed playing this one. Next up, we have yet another game from Capcom, Masters of the PlayStation 2. This is Ever Blue 2. Now, I'd never heard of this game, but I looked on the back and it looks to be like a diving simulator. The only game I've played similar to this is Endless Ocean. I absolutely love this, so really excited to jump into this one. And let me know if there is an Ever Blue 1. I presume there is, but yeah, this one looks super cool. So I said earlier there is a lot of Sega Mega Drive collections, and here we have the Sega Classics collection. And this has some absolute bangers. It has Columns, Outrun, Golden Axe, Space Harrier, just some of the very best Sega games, and a great way to relive some of these classics. Here's another classic from Sega, Shinobi. Now, I never actually played a Shinobi game past the Mega Drive, so for them to play this on the PlayStation 2 will be quite interesting. I'm kind of presuming it's going to be very similar to Tenchu, but let me know how this one stacks up in the comments down below. And keeping with this kind of samurai theme, we have Way of the Samurai 2, another game I haven't heard of, and hiding on the back and the front there is another Capcom logo. Let's get some of this packaging out of the way and keep diving into this box. Next up we have a weirdly red coloured box. Not sure if this should be the red box. We have Blowout. Never heard of this game before. It looks kind of like a Contra-esque game. So let me know if you've played Blowout in the comments down below. Another Namco game I've never heard of. Kill Switch. Fantastic name for a game. Looks to be a violent third-person shooter, so yeah, definitely right up my street with that one. Next up we have a game which was classic. If you ever went on the Newgrounds website back in the day, if you know, you know, you will know this game, Alien Hominid. Absolutely fantastic game. One that's getting harder to find these days, and one I'm super happy to have in the collection. Last bit of packaging and last few PlayStation 2 games by the looks of things, and one of these I am going to put till the end because I just caught sight of it and I'm super excited for that one. First off, we have another Maximo game, Army of Zin. I did not realise there was 2 Maximo games on the PlayStation 2, so that's genuinely surprised me. I did not know that one. Next up we have Capcom Classics Collection, and this has 22 Capcom games. Like, look at some of those absolute bangers on this one. Pause here if you need to, and we'll carry on. Next up we have Extreme G Racing, and this one's in a strange thin sleeve, but it definitely seems like the actual sleeve. Very strange. Never seen a PlayStation game in this sleeve. Just to give you an idea, the next game we have here, we'll just compare the thickness. See what I mean? Thin. And not to go over, this one is Disgaea Hour of Darkness by Koei. Now, I know some of these Koei games are incredibly collectible, so let me know about this one. I don't really know a lot about this. It's the kind of genre of games I don't have the greatest knowledge of, so let me know if this one is a banger in the comments down below. One game I do know is a banger, Tekken 5. Absolutely fantastic beat-em-up game, and Tekken PlayStation. Oh, so yeah, just a weird PlayStation stick on the front. I thought it was like, is it a free game? Is it just? It's just free to buy. Then we have another game from Konami I've never heard of. CY Girls. No idea what the CY stands for. Does it tell me on the back? No. I still don't know what a CY girl is, but hopefully I can play and find out with this one. Next up we have, I think it's 12 Stag. Now I'm a big fan of these kind of top-down shooting games, like the kind of R-type bits like this. And this one looks right up my street. Really looking forward to jumping into that one. Earlier on we said about the original kind of arcade games reimagined. Space Invaders Invasion Day. Is this like a Space Invaders RPG? This looks weird. It's like, yeah. I'll put some footage of this one because it looks really, really strange. Next up we have Swing Away Golf by a little company called Electronic Arts. It's a bit weird thinking back now that EA used to make so many kind of throwaway games. Actually, that's still kind of true today, but I digress. And then moving on, we have Made Man. Tarantino style meets Goodfellas cool. No idea about this one, but it does look pretty intriguing. That's what I love about the PlayStation 2. Weird little oddities like this one. So I saved one PlayStation 2 game to the end. That's because I've been trying to hunt down a copy of this game for the longest while. And that is this iconic game, Killer 7. One of the best franchises that Capcom let die. An absolute banger. I don't want to spoil too much about this one, but this is such an absolutely incredible game. And correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think they've remastered this one, and honestly I'm surprised this one hasn't been brought back from modern audiences. Okay, carrying on, we've got more packaging to get out of the way, and we are coming to the end of the bits in this box. So first up we have another black bag. Now this could be anything in here. I do know some little bonus bits were chucked in here. So when I get into it, we have some more PlayStation 2 games. So first off we have a game, Sky Odyssey. Looks a bit like Pilot Wings maybe, but made by Sony. Quite intrigued by that one. Then we have Orphan Scion of Sorcery. Never heard of this game, but it's made by Activision, so can't be too bad. Thankfully we had Capcom Classics Collection Volume 1 earlier. Now we have Volume 2, so another lot of games. Doesn't tell me the exact amount, but if you want to see what games they are, pause now. And we'll move on. An absolute certified banger here. Another franchise. Can't believe they haven't brought it back. Legacy of Kain. Absolutely fantastic, fantastic games. Coming to the end. Gonna skip that one to last. We have Cyberia. Don't know what this one is. Looks like a really cool kind of bullet hell shoot 'em up game. And it's the kind of thing I love finding. These kind of hidden gem bullet shoot and hell games I've never seen before. And finally we have our third and final Metal Slug, or Metal Slug 5. So being able to add Metal Slug 3, 4 and 5 to the collection with this donation is a real win. We have one last surprise hiding in this box, and it is vintage wrestling VHS tapes. Now I've sworn off collecting VHS tapes so many times, but I just keep getting sucked back in, and some of these absolute classic VHS tapes just have such good memories for me. And this is one I've never seen before. Clash of the Championships. So this is from 1988 on TBS. This is like pre-WCW, let me know. This is like a period of wrestling which I do not have the greatest kind of knowledge of. But you got Dusty Rhodes and the Road Warriors take on the Powers of Pain. Nature Boy Ric Flair against Sting. Is this the kind of definitive Ric Flair Sting match? If you know, let me know in the comments down below. This one is super cool. But we have 3 more WWF pay-per-views, and first off we have SummerSlam 95. There's just something about the incredible artwork on these, and some of the matches, like, actually that's not a good example, Diesel versus King Mabel, but this is the thing with this pay-per-view. That was the main event. The match prior to that was Shawn Michaels versus Razor Ramon, R.I.P., in the ladder match. Yes, the ladder match. That Intercontinental title match that cemented ladder matches and basically made them what they are today. This is an absolutely iconic pay-per-view. On to our next WWF tape, and we have one of the kind of random one-night-only pay-per-views they used to do in this country during the 80s and 90s. And these were normally matches which were kind of a little bit stranger. Matches you wouldn't normally see, like the main event was British Bulldog versus Shawn Michaels for the European Championship. And just some other cool matches like Bret the Hitman Hart versus The Undertaker, Vader versus Owen Hart. Just really, really cool matches. I think it was with some of these more kind of house shows where they had some real fun with these matches. And finally, we have another absolutely iconic pay-per-view, SummerSlam 1994. And if I remember correctly, yep, this was the SummerSlam which had The Undertaker versus The Undertaker. Only in the 90s could the WWE get away with such a strange, but still dream match. There we have it then, folks. That was an absolutely incredible unboxing of this amazing donation to my collection. And this is something that I never take for granted. It blows me away every time anyone reaches out to donate something to my collection. Be it a friend, a family member, or even a viewer of the channel. I feel so humbled whenever anyone offers to donate something to the collection, and I will never say no, as I feel so lucky to have the opportunity to have people help me build my collection. But here is the thing, I'm always a firm believer of paying things forward. I feel so blessed to have had this donated to my collection, so it's only a small gesture, but sometimes these small gestures are all it needs. Just something to balance out all the bad in the world, to do something good. So all the profits I make from this video, which are paid to me by YouTube, I will donate to a charity of the choice of the person who donated these games to my collection. Yes, it's only a small thing, but it's just paying it forward. So I'll do that a couple of weeks after this video's out, because normally that's when you get the most money for the video. And I know it's a small thing, but I just hope it goes a little bit further to kind of balancing the good karma that I had of having this donated to my collection. So if you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button, subscribe, share so even more people watch it, and as always, keep playing the game. See you all soon.